Mother and I were taken hostage, while father, embracing his favored concubine, wrote a letter to the enemy lord. "We are brothers. My woman is your woman. Enjoy her as you please." In my past life, mother would rather die than submit, and brought me back to father's side. I thought it would be the same in this life, but mother carefully dressed herself up and entered the Lord's tent on her own. Later, father led his army to take mother back. Mother, nestled in the Lord's arms, wrote a letter to father. "This concubine's morning sickness is severe. I cannot come to see you, elder brother." Under the dim yellow bean lamp, mother carefully washed her face, pinned up her hair, and tucked a small purple flower by her ear. I had never seen mother look so beautiful. In my memory, with father away at war, she alone managed the entire household, exhausted every day. Mother examined herself in the mirror, then kissed me as I pretended to sleep, got up, and walked out. I climbed down from the bed and quietly followed behind her. I thought she was going to abandon me and escape early. After all, I was a burden. Mother really liked father. She would smile whenever she saw him, gentle and warm like a spring breeze. In my past life, if she hadn't been carrying me on her back, she wouldn't have injured her face while escaping and been cast aside by father. Mother walked straight toward the largest tent in the camp, where the master of this 200,000-strong army resided, the Lord of Shiling, Mu-Shun. Why did she was also reborn? She clearly knew how to escape. The soldiers outside the tent stopped Mother. Mother said a few words to the person inside the tent, and the soldiers let her in. I quietly crept to the edge of the military tent from the other side. I am only 3 years old now, a tiny little thing. No one noticed me. I peeked into the tent through the gap. Mother was kneeling at Mu-Shun's feet. "The winter night is bitterly cold. Please let this humble woman serve you, my lord." I was stunned for a moment. Why had Mother changed? In my previous life, father let Mu-Shun dispose of Mother as he wished. Mother immediately pulled out her hairpin and pierced her own neck, threatening with death, absolutely refusing to submit to another man. But now she was trying to please Mu-Shun like father's concubines. Mu-Shun looked down at Mother condescendingly. He was also good. Looking on par with father, my little aunt had once really wanted to marry him. Little aunt said he was elegantly handsome and knew how to lead troops in battle. Perhaps he would unify this land in the future. Unfortunately, I died from a cold at 5 years old, and never knew whether this land ultimately belonged to my father or to Mu-Shun. Mu-Shun pushed Mother away, sneering. "If Madam feels lonely, this Marquis has 200,000 able-bodied men under his command. Madam may pick at will." He disliked Mother just like in the previous life. He looked down on everyone around father, and he even called me little beggar. Mother wasn't angry. She tilted her head up, her soft hand caressing Mu-Shun's chest. "Does the Marquis despise me for being Page's woman? Actually, the Marquis needn't mind. A woman who has been a wife knows better how to serve a man. Besides, if the Marquis obtains me, wouldn't that make Page a laughingstock to the world? As they say, in warfare, attacking the heart is the best strategy. Why doesn't the Marquis give it a try?" Mother said this while sitting down on Mu-Shun's lap, her calves swinging gently. I was so worried she'd be thrown to the ground by Mu-Shun. In my previous life, after we escaped, Mother also sat on father's lap like this, and father pushed her down. "Jiang Yuan, who did you learn these foxy seduction tricks from?" Father was livid. Mother smiled faintly. "Doesn't husband like it? But last night I saw Rongji doing the same with husband, and husband seemed quite entranced." Father said coldly, "You are this Marquise's legitimate wife. A legitimate wife should act like one. Otherwise, how are you any different from a whore?" Father left angrily. Mother slowly got up from the ground and came to my bedside. I had just caught a cold at the time. Her tears fell on my face, So cold, so cold. Fortunately, this time Mushun didn't throw Mother off. He asked her, "You and PG were childhood sweethearts, yet you want the world to laugh at him. Why?" Mother leaned close to his ear and whispered something. I couldn't hear. I only saw that after she finished speaking, she bit Mushun's throat again, and Mushun's gaze immediately darkened. So, Mother was trying to assassinate him. I was worried Mother couldn't beat him and was about to sneak in. But the next moment, my body was lifted into the air. The soldiers guarding the tent had found me. He carried me back to the tent, saying he couldn't let me ruin Mushun's good time. I didn't know what good time there could be. I was worried about Mother and started crying and fussing, but it was useless. Mother didn't come back until the next morning. She was draped in a man's clothes. Her dress had been torn to shreds, and her lips had been bitten through. A sturdy maidservant brought in a bucket of hot water. Mother soaked herself in it, her snow, white body covered in bruises of blue and purple. "Mother, what happened to you?" I asked her sadly. She didn't answer, only gently asked me, "Ayan, did you sleep well last night?" I wanted to tell her I didn't sleep well because I'd been worried about her the whole time. But the words reached my lips and I held back. I nodded. "Your child slept very well." After Mother finished bathing, she took out that letter. Father had written to Mushun. He couldn't read, but in both lifetimes I'd heard Mushun's people read it aloud. The letter had only a few lines. "You and I are brothers. My woman is your woman for you to enjoy as you please." In my previous life, Mother said Mushun was lying, that this letter was forged by him. Mushun gave her the letter, and after she read it, her face turned pale. The letter was in Father's handwriting, stained with a touch of rouge. Mushun's envoy said that when Father wrote this letter, he had a beauty in his arms, enjoying himself immensely. "Mother, stop reading. I am hungry," I said pitifully. This was a letter that would break her heart, and I didn't want her to keep reading it. "All right, Mother won't read anymore." She placed the letter into the charcoal fire, and it quickly burned to ashes. For a whole month, Mother went to Mushun's tent, not returning until dawn the next day, sometimes even close to noon. I was digging for hibernating insects under the snow outside the tent when I heard the servant women gossiping about Mother. She is truly a seductress. Her ways of serving men, even prostitutes, probably can't compare. No way. She is a daughter of the Zhang clan of Runan. The Zhang clan values propriety and honor the most. Who knows? A few days ago, the Lord took her horseback riding in the wild. When they came back, her skirt was bunched up to her waist without a shred of shame. They said Mushun was such a pure and ascetic lord, but he was corrupted by my mother. If you ask me, the Lord is just using her. By now, probably the whole world knows that Peiji's woman has been bedded by our Lord. They laughed heartily. I packed some snow and threw it at them. They got up to chase me, and I fled back into the tent where Mother was brewing tea. She wiped the sweat from my face. "Where did you go to get so sweaty like this?" I really wanted to ask her why she didn't run, why she stayed here to be laughed at and cursed. But her hands were so gentle, I didn't want to make her sad. "It is nothing." I nestled in her arms. "Your child saw a little rabbit and chased it for a long time, but couldn't catch it." Mother laughed. How come you are just like your father when he was little?" She suddenly stopped talking, and her smile slowly faded. After a while she said again, "It is good for Ayan to run around more. If you are healthy, you can grow up safe and sound." I nodded hard. "Okay." I also hope that in this life I'll never catch a cold. After the snow cleared, Mushun's army continued marching south, sweeping through everything along the way, and by the time the peach blossoms bloomed, he had reached Runan. Runan is Mother's hometown, but I don't like it here at all. In my previous life, after Mother took me and escaped, we came to Runan, but my maternal grandparents wouldn't let her in. Grandfather blocked Mother outside the door. "You've been defiled. The Jiang family can no longer keep you. Just leave." Mother pulled me to kneel on the ground and explained. Your daughter resisted with her life. So Mushun didn't violate me. He only locked me up. But no one believed her. Mother also begged them for some medicine and silver. Her face was badly injured, and the two of us hadn't eaten for days. Grandfather wouldn't give a single cent either. Grandmother said, Ayuen, give the child away, then find a river to end it all. Mother held me tightly and fled stumbling, terrified that I would be taken away if she slowed down even a moment. People around threw stones and vegetable leaves at her, cursing her for being shameless. And she got even more wounds. Later, she took me and begged all the way before we could return to Father's side. At this moment, my maternal grandparents led the clan members kneeling before Mushun's army, respectfully accepting him as their lord, no longer having the backbone from my previous life. So it turns out, the whip has to land on your own body before you know it hurts. Mother didn't come out to see my maternal grandparents that day. She held me and stayed in the carriage in a daze. Mother, are you going to see Grandpa and Grandma? I asked her. Many nights before, I had heard her calling for her parents in her dreams, and she would even shed tears. I thought she still missed her parents, but Mother shook her head. I won't see them. Even if they're here, I won't see them anymore. At night, I was half asleep when I felt someone sitting by the bed. I carefully opened my eyes a little and saw it was Mushun. Because of the war, Mother and I hadn't seen him for 1 or 2 months. Mother also sensed he had come and sat up. When did you arrive, my lord? Mushun caressed her face, just now. She turned her head away. My lord, Yan is still here, don't. Mushun asked her, why don't you go see your parents? Mother was silent for a moment, and said, I don't know how to face them. Mushun asked again, you still have Peije in your heart, so you feel too ashamed to face your parents. Mother replied, Number Mushun said. It better not be. This marquis is still fulfilling the agreement with you. If you play tricks on this marquis for Peiji's sake, this marquise will never let you off easily. Mother said she would never betray him, and she swore on her life. Mushun left, and after a while, someone by his side came again to summon Mother over. The 2 maidservants sent to look after me whispered among themselves. We thought the Lord could hold back, but he still called her over to serve him after all. The Lord might be addicted. Who knows if he'll be able to quit later? Whether he can quit or not doesn't matter. She is just a seductive vixen for people to toy with. What is most pressing now is that they're about to encounter PG. Hearing them discussing Father, I immediately perked up my ears. They said Mushun's next city was Yuchuan, and that Father's 200,000 troops were also marching there. They said now everyone under heaven knew Mother had given herself to Mushun, and Father definitely couldn't stand it. When Mother fell into Father's hands, she would probably be subjected to the wooden horse torture. They sighed. Ayo, the wooden horse torture. She'll be wishing she were dead then. The army rested in Runan for 9 days, and Mother went to Mushun's room for 5 nights. At dawn, Mother returned through the thin mist, then fell asleep. The maidservants gathered in the courtyard again to gossip. How could she not be tired? She clung to the Lord all night long. I had to deliver hot water several times throughout the night. But she is indeed born beautiful, so tender you could squeeze water out of her. How do you think she just couldn't hold on to her husband's heart? They were childhood sweethearts who married young. They said because of the letter Father wrote to Mushun. The whole world knew my mother wasn't loved by Father. To care for someone is to wish you could knead her into your very bones and blood. How could you possibly hand her over to someone else? But Father not only gave Mother away, he gave her to the enemy. Did he not know what that meant? In the end, they reached a conclusion. There is probably someone more beautiful than her who stole her husband's heart. Mother opened her eyes at this moment, her body trembling slightly, her long eyelashes like butterfly wings in the wind. I opened the door and bared my teeth at the servant women, chasing them all away. Mother got up to groom herself, staring at her reflection in the mirror for a long time. She touched the face that had been injured in her previous life. "Mother, you are the most beautiful in the whole world," I told her earnestly. In my heart, whether she was beautiful or ugly, no matter what she became, she was the most beautiful mother. She came back to her senses and smiled at me gently. Sometimes Mushun would come to see Mother. Mother was asleep and didn't know. So I would stand by the bed and stare at him. He didn't like me. He said I had a face as detestable as Father's. I thought his eyesight was bad. Everyone said I was cute. Back when Mother and I were begging, someone even offered 10 gold to buy me. 10 gold. That is enough to buy 2 cows. Mushun gave me a sugar cake. I swallowed my saliva and took it. Just as I was about to eat it, Mother suddenly woke up and snatched the sugar cake away. "What? Afraid this marquis will harm her?" Mushun said with a cold sneer. Mother said no, said my teeth were bad, and my stomach was weak, so I couldn't eat anything too sticky. When the marquis has children someday, you'll understand. Parents always worry about their children. Mushun: "Then why don't I see Peiji worrying about this child? Isn't he her father?" Mother lowered her head and said nothing, gripping the sugar cake tightly in her hand, but eventually placed it in mine. Yan, go eat it under the peach tree in the outer courtyard. Only eat half, save the other half for tomorrow." I didn't want to go, but Mother kept urging me. I walked with the sugar cake for quite a while before reaching the peach tree. I didn't understand why Mother insisted I come to such a faraway place to eat. After I ate half the sugar cake, I saw the peach blossoms were blooming beautifully, so I asked someone to help me pick the prettiest branch and headed back. I thought Mother would surely like it. Before I could even push the door open, a maidservant carried me away. As I passed by the window, I saw the bed curtains on Mother's bed were drawn. One of her hands, nails painted bright red with balsam, was tightly gripping the hanging tassels outside the curtain, but it was quickly pulled inside by another hand with prominent knuckles. I wasn't sent back until evening. The peach blossoms I had dropped at the door had already been picked up by Mother and placed in a celadon jade vase. "The peach blossoms Ian picked are so pretty. Mother loves them," she praised me. Then she reminded me not to casually eat things given by others, and even if I wanted to eat them, I should tell her first. I nodded vigorously. Finally she hugged me. "My Ian, you must grow up safe and sound." Because Mushun was often with my mother, some of his retainers worried he was too indulgent in matters between men and women. Others thought it was fine to indulge a little one, couldn't conquer the world by being austere and desireless. Besides, this was a psychological tactic against my father. They also said, "Anyway, this woman, whether alive or as a corpse, will be returned to Peiji in the end, so there is no need to mind." Mother said nothing, just sat quietly by the window sewing a spring dress for me. "Ian, come try it on," she called to me. I twirled in the dress in front of her. My Ian looks so beautiful. Mother smiled, her eyes filled with nothing but me, but I always felt there was sadness in her eyes. I think she was probably remembering my death in my previous life. I caught a cold after being pushed into the lake by Rongji's child. All the physicians in the manor went to treat Rongji's child. Even though Mother was the legal wife, she couldn't get anyone to come. Back then, everyone was certain she had been defiled by Mushun's men. Even Father refused to touch her. She held me night after night, begging Father over and over again. But I still slowly grew cold in her arms, one faintly lit morning. In my last moments of consciousness, I heard her softly humming a song for me. Rub the little tummy. Baby won't fuss. Squeeze the little hands and feet. Baby sleep sound. So many times I wanted to tell her I was alive, but for some reason I couldn't make a sound when I tried to speak. In June, Mushun captured Yuchuan. Father never made it. He ran into another lord on the way, and they started fighting. Actually, I didn't want him to come, because he is really formidable and has never lost a battle. I was afraid Mushun couldn't beat him. Even though I really hate Mushun, he has never made Mother cry. Father always makes Mother cry. Father doesn't really like me either. He likes the son Rongji bore him. He said all of Eastern Wu would go to Rongji's son, while I, his daughter, was meant for a marriage alliance. Mushun's army stopped at Yuchuan, fortifying the walls and stockpiling provisions, ready to wait for the prey to come to them. His retainers said my father was that rabbit. Mother had someone deliver fresh milk. She used the milk and herbs to make ointments to apply on her body, making her skin soft and fragrant. The servant women all said she was extravagant, really acting like she was the wife of the Shiling Marquis. But Mother paid them no mind. She also personally sewed dresses in styles unseen in Yuchuan, adorning herself beautifully, turning heads wherever she went. Mushun hosted a banquet for the noble families of Yuchuan, and Mother came out to perform a dance. She twirled gracefully in the hall, her lovely eyes glancing about, fragrant breezes swirling around her. Even the butterflies stopped for her. In the end, she leaned into Mushun's arms and held a cup of wine in her mouth to feed him. Mushun didn't drink the wine, nor did he smile. While everyone was still stunned, he swept Mother up in his arms and left the banquet. After that night, stories of how Mother seduced and served men, like a vixen, spread wider and wider, embellished and dramatized, until even common entertainers were performing it on stage. Not long after, news came that Father had won the battle. In early September, the cotton roses of Yuchuan were in full bloom, blanketing the entire city in pink and purple. Mother picked the flowers to make into ointment for treating the scars left on me by summer insect bites. While she was boiling them, she suddenly started vomiting. I hurriedly asked, "Mother, what is wrong?" Mother looked around, and only when she saw no one was there did she whisper, "It is nothing, just choked on the smoke." I hurriedly brought water for Mother. While she was drinking, an attendant by Mushun's side came to invite Mother to the front hall, saying Father's envoy had arrived. Mother nodded. "Let me change my clothes first. Yesterday I heard that Father's 300,000 troops were already marching toward Yuchuan. Now half the realm was already under the PI family's control. In my previous life, not long after Mother took me back, Grandfather proclaimed himself king and named the kingdom Wei. The following year, Father was made crown prince, and Rongji became the crown prince's concubine. Mother should have been the crown princess, but she received no title at all. Before I died, Father had never gone to war with Mushun. In this life, many things have already changed. Mother changed into a gorgeous outfit, her makeup radiant, more beautiful than the hibiscus flowers. When they reached the front hall, she walked to Mushun's side and sat down. As soon as Mushun extended his hand, she leaned into his embrace, picked a grape, and fed it to his mouth. Mushun held Mother's hand. Delicious. The envoys Father sent had ashen faces. The rumors were playing out right before their eyes, and they wished they could tear Mother to pieces. They demanded Mushun hand Mother over to them, or else Father's army would be at the city gates. I was extremely nervous, afraid that Mother would really be taken away by them. The servant women said Mother would definitely be tortured if she went back, saying Eastern Wu wasn't like their Western Ling. Eastern Wu placed extreme importance on a woman's chastity. If a woman has an affair with another man, she will be unable to live yet, unable to die. Mushun asked Mother, "Are you willing to go with them?" Mother shook her head. Marquis Pei said that his woman is your woman. My lord, this concubine's heart delights in my lord, and I am willing to serve my lord for all my life. Mushun had Mother write a letter for the envoys to bring back to Father. Mother wrote, "This concubine has severe morning sickness and cannot come to see elder brother." Mushun's expression turned solemn upon seeing it. After the envoys left, he asked Mother. "You are pregnant," Mother replied. "This concubine is not pregnant. Didn't my lord make me take contraceptive medicine? I only wrote this to make Pejia lose more face." Mushun was a cautious man, so he had the physician examine Mother's pulse. The physician said there was nothing unusual with Mother's body. But that night, Mother vomited again. Mother said she had just eaten something bad, and drinking some hot water would make it better. She coaxed me to sleep, saying, "In this lifetime, having just a yawn alone is enough for Mother." Less than 3 days after the envoys left, Father personally led 100,000 troops to the walls of Yuchuan City. It was said this was just the vanguard, and the remaining 200,000 would arrive soon. On the day Father arrived, Mother held me as she stood on the city walls. I spotted Father at first glance. His steed beneath him was the sturdiest, and the red tassel on his helmet was the most dazzling. Ever since I could remember, people have told me that my father was the most handsome young man in Eastern Wu. Ivrion says, Peije in the east, Mu Shun in the west, equally matched. Father raised his head and faced Mother from afar. Mother looked at Father very calmly. She wasn't like this before. I remember during those days of begging. She always told me, "Hold on a little longer. Your father must be looking for us too." On those cold nights, we huddled under other people's woodpiles to shelter from the wind and rain. She held me in her arms, telling me amusing stories of when she met Father as a child, telling me how her heart fluttered when she learned she would marry Father, telling me how Father was so happy he was like a child when she got pregnant with me. After returning to the Marquise's residence, Mother waited every day for Father to come, but he never did. The only time he came, he pushed Mother to the ground. The early autumn wind blew gently, and the golden baiyao on Mother's head swayed softly. "Zhang Yuan, come here," Father said coldly, his voice echoing off the city walls again and again. Once, what Mother longed for most was for Father to come rescue her with thousands of troops. She would have rushed to him without hesitation, even if 1,000 arrows pierced her heart from behind. Now Father had come, yet Mother stood behind the man who had abducted her, Jiang Yuan. Father was furious beyond control. I had never seen him this angry. Even in my previous life, when I accidentally broke Consort Rong's most beloved jade vase, he had never roared like this. The two armies clashed in battle, fighting until the sky turned dark. Mushun was strategizing at the front lines and hadn't returned to the manor for several days. The servant women cursed Mother as a femme fatale. So many people have died because of her, yet she still has the mood to brew tea and admire flowers. We said long ago she is a fox spirit reincarnated, needing to absorb enough yang energy from men before she can ascend. I angrily retorted, "Before my mother came, men were fighting too. It has nothing to do with my mother at all." They exchanged glances and gradually fell silent. In this war, Father gained the upper hand. He repelled the army Mu Shun sent out and besieged Yuchuan City. Mu Shun's retainers all urged him to return Mother and me. They had said before that Mother, whether alive or as a corpse, had to be returned to my father. I cried and told Mother we couldn't go back. Father wouldn't spare her. But Mother wasn't afraid, and even said she wouldn't let anything happen to me. I cried until I was exhausted and fell asleep in Mother's arms. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I heard Mother talking with Mu Shun in the outer room. Now everything is proceeding according to plan. This concubine will deliver what the Lord Marquis wants, and I ask the Lord Marquis to keep his promise. Mu Shun's voice was strained. "Why must you leave? This Marquise does not fear him." Mother was resolute. This concubine still has things she must do, things that must be done personally. She asked Mu Shun, "Does the Lord Marquis believe in past and present lives?" Mu Shun, past and present lives. A Niang took Mu Shun's hand, her fingers tracing along his palm lines. "Judging from your palm lines, My lord, in your past life you were too devoted to a gentleman's righteousness. She said that in his previous life, Mushun lost the realm because of his sense of loyalty, and did not meet a good end. In this life, he should be more ruthless and merciless, because since ancient times a general's success is built upon 10,000 bones, one cannot become an empire, building emperor through kindness. My lord should also marry soon and continue your lineage. If something truly were to happen, there would be someone to inherit this great land. Mushun asked her. Then what about Anyang replied lightly. This humble one's past life was nothing but a joke. Mushun said Nyang was being deliberately mysterious, and that he didn't believe in such things. He said Nyang might die if she went back, and told her to think it through carefully. Nyang looked at Mushun. My lord cares so much about this humble one. Could it be that you've fallen for me? Mushun froze for a moment. You and I are nothing but a transaction, a bout of pleasure between a man and a woman. How could there be any feelings? That is good then. Anyang nodded. This humble one is no good person. My lord need not worry. I have my own ways to survive by PG's side. After Mushun left, Anyang sat alone for a long time. The cool moonlight spilled in from outside the window, and she looked like a fairy about to fly away to the heavenly palace at any moment. But in the end she got up and came to my side, waving a fan to drive away the mosquitoes around me. When Mother and I left in the morning, the servant women whispered quietly, "What a pity. Such a beauty today might be her death day. This child, will she also be? Surely not. Even a vicious tiger won't eat its own cubs." I hope so. I've raised this child for most of this year, and I've really grown attached. Mother walked past calmly in my previous life. She would always cry sadly because of others' words. But in this life, she seemed to never care. Mushun watched us from afar. Mother didn't look back. That day, autumn rain began to fall, lingering and gentle. Mother held an oiled paper umbrella and led me by the hand into Father's military camp. The military camp was filled with a solemn killing intent. All the soldiers stared coldly at Mother and me. Mother looked straight ahead and walked forward firmly. I also lifted my head and straightened my back. Entering the military tent, Father was wiping his sword. The sword radiated a chilling aura, sharp enough to split a hair blown upon it, cutting iron like mud. Father looked at us coldly. He frightened me more than Father in my previous life. Mother gracefully bowed to Father and those around. This humble wife greets the Marquis, greets all the uncles. No one paid her any attention. Father ordered everyone to leave. I was also carried out of the tent. This time I didn't cry or fuss. I believed in Mother. Before long, Father's angry voice came through. You and I married at 17. We've been husband and wife for 7 years. How could you not know I wrote that letter deliberately to provoke Mushun? You've heard of his temperament, too. As long as you resisted to the death, he surely wouldn't have done anything to you. But why did you give yourself to him? Why did you make me the laughingstock of the world? I wanted to tell him. In my past life, Mother did exactly that. But what difference did it make? Father, you still abandoned Mother anyway. I thought Mother would explain, but I heard no sound. After a while, Father's voice came. What are you taking off your clothes for? What? Trying to use this kind of trick to make me spare you? The uncles outside the tent looked embarrassed. Then Mother's voice came. During the 10 months I was by Mushun's side, I secretly drew part of Shiling city defenses onto this undergarment, using invisible ink. Only this way could I bring it back to present to the Lord. It will become visible when dampened with water. Father didn't believe her and still wanted to kill Mother. The uncles rushed in and stopped Father. They said to verify it first. If Mother was deliberately deceiving, it wouldn't be too late to kill her then. Mother and I survived. But that same day, Father also gave Mother a divorce letter. with her life or death to be decided after confirming whether the city defense map was real or fake. Mother looked at the divorce letter and carefully put it away, as if this was exactly what she had been waiting for. In my past life, she told me that on the day she married Father, the dowry procession stretched for miles, and her wedding dress was red as fire. It was the grandest event in Dongwu and Runan. But now everything, all of it, had become this single thin piece of paper. Little Aunt came and raised her horsewhip to strike Mother. "You knew full well I liked Mu Shun, so why did you do such a shameless thing?" Mother grabbed the horsewhip. "Pei Yue, if Mu Shun hadn't been willing too, I couldn't have done something shameless all by myself." Little Aunt was yanked down and fell to the ground, bursting into tears with a wail. "Last year Shiling was ready to come propose marriage. It is all because of you, all because of you. You ruined the marriage between me and Mu Shun." Mother said indifferently, "If a marriage can be ruined by others, then it is not fate, it is just a tribulation." My aunt pointed at her and said, "You low-class slut who uses your looks to seduce men, how dare you point your finger at me? What is wrong with using my looks to please a man?" My mother said with a smile, "He doesn't even want me, a lowly wretch like myself, which just goes to show how truly unremarkable you are." She made Little Aunt so angry she couldn't speak, and in the end she stormed out of the tent. Mother slowly sat down, covering her stomach with her hand, her brows slightly furrowed. I hurriedly poured water for Mother. It had been about half a month since she last brewed medicine with Cotton Rose, but I still often saw her holding her stomach like this. At night, Mother used clothes to partition off a space in the tent and let me sleep inside, then fed me some medicine saying it was an antidote. But the next moment she changed her words and said it was for warding off chills. Then she added a bit of powder to the lamp oil, and the tent gradually became sweet and fragrant. Mother carefully groomed herself in front of the water in the wooden basin. She applied beautiful lip rouge, styled her hair prettily, and pinned a small pink flower at her temple. Just like before she went to see Mu Shun on that snowy night. I had a dream. I dreamed Father came at night, gripping her neck and asking if she really was carrying Mu Shun's child. Mother said no. Said that letter was written under Mu Shun's coercion. It was a psychological ploy. She let Father touch her flat belly, saying she hadn't lied to him. The oil lamp burned fiercely, its fragrance filling the air. Before long, someone kicked the lamp over, and the surroundings caught fire, the raging flames lighting up half the sky. I startled awake, and when I opened my eyes, it was already dawn. The tent hadn't been burned by fire. There was nothing but some lingering fragrance, and no Father either. Mother sat before the mirror, her lip rouge gone, her black hair disheveled, the small flower at her temple also missing. Her hand rested on her belly, a faint smile at the corner of her lips. Father withdrew his troops from Yuchuan. The uncles said it was fortunate this battle didn't actually break out. Otherwise, it would have been the snipe and clam fighting while the fisherman reaps the benefit. Father didn't return to Eastern Wu. Grandfather had just proclaimed himself king, naming the state Wei, and ordered Father to garrison the strategic fortress Junzhou with 100,000 troops. The uncles who had fought against Mu Shun also confirmed that the city defense map Mother brought back was genuine. Mother can keep living because Mother said there are still remaining maps she hasn't had time to draw, all stored in her mind. On the day we set off, I looked back toward Yuchuan. The 5 months spent there were the happiest days of my previous life, and this life combined. Now that we're leaving, that annoying Mu Shun doesn't seem so annoying anymore. Mother told Father to bring Rongji and her son over. Their family should be reunited, but Father asked her why she had drugged him. "What is the big deal? Didn't your Highness enjoy it too? The tent was nearly brought down by your Highness." Mother rested her chin on her hand and looked at Father, her eyes brimming with playful amusement. Father was so furious. He held his sword against Mother's neck. But mother wasn't afraid, her slender fingers stroking the blade. If your highness kills me now, there won't be anyone left to draw those remaining city defense maps. In the end, father sheathed his sword, but stopped paying attention to mother. Mother still did her makeup and styled her hair every night, pinning freshly picked flowers in it, then went to father's tent, but was always driven out by father. Mother wasn't upset either. She dressed herself up beautifully, fragrant and soft every day. She smiled whenever she saw father, just like in her previous life. Everyone thought father, and she still had lingering attachments, so no one dared to secretly harm her. She even took the initiative to give silver for drinks to the soldiers, and servant women watching over us, and even helped treat some troublesome minor ailments. Those people got benefits, so they weren't so harsh on us anymore. After arriving at Jun City, mother had actually won over a few people, and when she was scolded, those people would also speak up for her. A widow and orphan in enemy territory, how could they survive without flattering the enemy? Die. Easy for you to say. Why don't you go die and show me? Even His Highness doesn't mind anymore. What are you all worrying about? Mother quietly listened at the corner, then quietly left. When she saw father, she brought up again bringing consort Rong and her son over, and father agreed. I didn't understand. In my previous life, mother extremely disliked consort Rong, so why did she insist on seeing her? Before consort Rong arrived, uncle came first. Uncle gave mother a porcelain bottle. After you finish it, it'll be just like falling asleep. There won't be any pain. Mother looked at the porcelain bottle. Brother, you've never died before. How would you know there won't be any pain? Maybe this medicine makes people wish they were dead? Uncle was so angry his beard was trembling. The Jiang family's centuries of untarnished reputation has been ruined by you overnight. Kill yourself to atone. Don't force me to do it myself. Mother was fearless. Brother, you have 1 wife, 3 concubines, and 5 or 6 bed warmers. Father also has countless concubines. The uncles in the clan are the same. As for me, I've only had 2 men in total. If we're talking about who is worse, you all should kill yourselves first. Uncle looked at mother in disbelief. Who exactly are you? You are not my sister, mother said. Yes, I am not your sister. The Jing Yuan from before died long ago. Uncle drew his dagger and was about to kill mother, but fortunately father arrived in time to stop him. As uncle was being dragged away, he screamed, She is not Jiang Yuan. She is not Jiang Yuan. Mother fainted. I held her and cried loudly, begging father to save her quickly. Father hesitated for a moment, but still sent someone to fetch a doctor from the city. The doctor arrived quickly. After examining her, he said mother was already 1 month pregnant. Father asked the doctor, Are you certain it is 1 month? The doctor nodded affirmatively. This old man wouldn't dare deceive your highness. If your highness doubts my medical skills, you may invite others for a second opinion. But father told the doctor not to spread the news about mother's pregnancy. I looked at this doctor and felt he somewhat resembled the medical officer who treated mother back in Yuchuan. After father left, I asked mother, Am I going to have a little brother or sister? Mother said, There won't be one. Mother said before, having just you, Yanner, is enough. Having a little brother or sister would be nice too. I said sincerely, because I don't know how long I can live in this life. If I die young, like in my previous life, then a little brother or sister could keep mother company, so she wouldn't be too heartbroken. That night, father brought abortion medicine. Mother refused to drink it. Your Highness is no longer my husband. According to Eastern Wu law, Your Highness has no right to dispose of another person's unborn child, otherwise it is a serious crime. Moreover, this child is very likely Your Highness's. Has Your Highness forgotten how you took this concubine that night, even if the child isn't Your Highness's? Didn't Your Highness say that your woman is Mu Shun's woman, for him to enjoy as he pleases? Then if this concubine is carrying Mu Shun's child, why should your highness be angry? Jiang Yuan, you madwoman. Father's face turned ashen. Mother poured the abortion medicine at father's feet. Pei Ji, I am not mad. I am more clear-headed than ever. If you force me to drink this medicine again, the city defense map will be gone. With Mother's city defense map, a deputy general under Father captured a city in Xiling. When the victory report arrived, the army was in an uproar. The PA family and the Mu family had officially gone to war. They had once suspected that Mother had been turned by Mu Shun, but now that suspicion was lifted, I listlessly threw pebbles by the water's edge. I seemed somewhat unhappy, yet didn't know why I was unhappy. Suddenly, I was lifted up by someone. It was Father. He carried me into the room and warned me not to go near water in the future. Father had a dream last night. I dreamed you fell into the water and caught a chill and couldn't be saved. I was somewhat surprised. Father had actually dreamed of my previous life. When your child died in your dream, Father, were you sad? I couldn't help but ask him. I hadn't seen Father before I died. I didn't know what his attitude had been. Father patted my head. Of course I was sad. You are my daughter. I never imagined anything would happen to you. When I woke from the dream, my pillow was already soaked with tears. I didn't believe him. He only liked Rongji's children. Was Mother in your dream, Father? Was she sad when I died? Father replied. Your mother was also very sad. She cried tears of blood. Even after we had another child later, she was still very sad. So they had another child later. What about that child? Thankfully, it was just a dream, Father murmured, as if still shaken. On our way back, we saw Mother. She stood under the corridor, quietly watching us. The breeze brushed against her hair. She was gentler than the wind. Father walked over. Perhaps he thought of Mother's sorrow in the dream, and for once showed her a kind face. It is getting windy. Let's go inside, Mother answered softly. All right. That evening, Rongji and her son Peishuan arrived. Rongji happily threw herself into Father's arms, pouring out how much she had missed him. Mother slowly walked toward her and smiled under Rongji's puzzled gaze. Rongji, you've finally come. I've been waiting for you for so long. She then bent down and touched Peishuan's little face. Schwaner, long time no see. Peishuan shoved Mother away. My mother said you are a whore, very dirty. Don't touch me. Father coldly swept a glance at Rongji. Rongji immediately knelt before Father, on the verge of tears. Your Highness, please see clearly. This concubine never said that. I heard it on the way here. She was always like this before. Whenever there was any dispute with Mother, she would kneel before Father first to plead guilty, and Father always believed her. Father looked like he was going to believe her this time too. But Peishuan was unconvinced. Mother, you did say it. You said she was a whore, a woman Father didn't want. And you also said sister was a little whore, telling me not to play with her. Rongji still wanted to explain. But Father told her to get lost, then put her under house arrest. I thought Mother would be very happy. In the previous life, Rongji had never been put under house arrest by Father. But Mother remained indifferent. She said a slap was nothing compared to the pain of having one's heart gouged out. After saying that, she quietly drew the defense map of Xiling under the lamp. I asked her if she could stop drawing. I didn't want Mu Shun and Father to go to war, Mother said. Yenner, be patient a little longer. Everything will be over soon. When Rongji was in confinement, Mother pinned a flower by her temple again. She played the chin under the moonlight. Father listened from upstairs. She didn't come back at night. The people taking care of me said she went to Father's room. They said, didn't His Highness divorce her? You don't get it, do you? This is called, a wife is not as good as a concubine. A concubine is not as good as a stolen lover. Without the husband-wife relationship, it is actually more exciting. They all say Rongji's methods are clever, but the way I see it, she is far more formidable than Rongji. But I also feel she is quite pitiful. They said that their mother, who was originally a noble lady from a prestigious family and a legitimate wife, ultimately ended up disgraced and engaging in secret affairs. The next day, though mother returned somewhat tired, she still sat down to draw. It is just that I thought what she drew looked like our Jun city, because I saw the traveling palace where we lived. She went to father's chambers for several days in a row, and after a few days, the drawing of Jun City was nearly finished. After Rongji's confinement was lifted, she came to see mother. She stood at the doorway and said to mother, "Don't get too smug. Since I could make His Highness abandon you once, I can make him abandon you a second time." Mother looked at her with a smile. "That kind of beast, if you like him, take him." Rongji's expression changed, and she hesitated for a moment. You actually called His Highness a beast," mother said innocently. "I didn't. It was clearly you who was cursing just now. If you don't believe me, ask the people behind you." Rongji turned around only to discover two servant women standing behind her, who had appeared at some unknown time. Everything she had just said had been heard, and so the rumor spread. Everyone in the traveling palace said Rongji was dissatisfied with being confined by father, and had cursed him. No matter how Rongji tried to explain, it was useless. Father confined Rongji once again. I happily told mother. Mother said to me, "Yaner, sometimes confinement isn't a punishment, but a form of protection." Mother's belly gradually grew bigger, and that doctor who looked like a court physician came to check her pulse every 7 days. When the first snow fell, the doctor came again, and the apprentice by his side was different from before. I looked carefully, and thought this apprentice looked somewhat like Mu Shun. Mother was also a bit surprised, but she said nothing. The physician went out to write a prescription, and the apprentice stayed in the room. I sneaked back and saw the apprentice ask mother, "This child is mine, isn't it?" Mother replied, "My lord has witnessed with his own eyes this concubine taking the contraceptive medicine every time. How could this concubine possibly have my lord's child?" The apprentice didn't believe her. "Contraceptive medicine isn't foolproof either. Come back with me. I'll marry you." Mother's brows and eyes curved into a smile. "Sure, then please offer the realm as the betrothal gift. My lord, this concubine will only be empress." "All right. Wait for me." The apprentice agreed. After they left, mother murmured, "To take such a great risk coming here, but Mu Shun, I am really not a good person." When the first snow fell, father's lieutenant brought news of defeat. Shiling counterattacked, and 30,000 Wei soldiers were buried in the snow. After this defeat came one loss after another. The uncles even lost some of Eastern Wu's cities. Grandfather was furious, ordering father to defend Jun City at all costs. It was Wei's lifeline. Some suspected there was a mole, and father's strategist once again cast suspicion on mother. Mother knelt before father and requested to be confined. Father locked mother up, and Rongji was very happy, saying mother was just a fool. But after mother was confined, Wei still kept losing, and Shiling's elusive attacks often caught the Wei army off guard. By February, Mu Shun led an army of 300,000 to the gates of Jun City. On this day, mother also had a miscarriage. Pei Xuan bumped into her while running. I was so angry I fought with Pei Xuan, pinning him down hard and biting him. Then I saw blood beneath mother. Mother said to me with a deathly pale face, "Yaner, go get someone." Mother delivered a stillborn. They said it was a baby boy. The midwife said it was because mother had taken too many medicines she shouldn't have, and this child was destined not to survive. Mother wasn't very sad, as if she had known all along. Father came to see her. "We'll have more children in the future." "So it still happens the same way after all," mother said. "What did you say?" Father wanted to ask clearly, but the drums of the siege had already begun, and father could only leave. This battle was fought intensely, and father didn't even have time to come to the traveling palace. Mother took her medicine on time every day to recuperate, and her complexion gradually improved. But I couldn't help crying, and even though mother didn't say anything, I still felt she was suffering so much. Mother said it wasn't hard, said things were much better now than before. She held me in her arms and gently patted my back. At least Yander is still by mother's side. Rongji came. She mocked mother, a noble lady from a family with a century of pure reputation, for actually taking secret medicine to turn herself into a vessel for pleasing men. She laughed that no matter how much mother pleased Mushun, he still sent her back to father. She said that since father had divorced mother, he could never marry her again. And even if he kept mother by his side now, she would only be treated as a forbidden plaything. Finally, Rongji clicked her tongue twice. The most terrifying thing is, you can't bear children anymore, whether it is His Highness or Mushun, or even beggars on the street. As long as they're men, they all want sons. Zhang Yuan, you can only be a man's plaything for the rest of your life, and your daughter, when she grows up, she suddenly stopped talking, because mother stabbed scissors toward her throat. But mother didn't kill her, only piercing half an inch in. Rongji was so frightened, her face turned pale. She hadn't expected the always gentle mother would dare to hurt someone with a sharp blade. "Madam, spare my life. I won't dare anymore." Mother smiled and said, "I won't kill you now, otherwise it wouldn't be fun." Rongji ran away, covering her neck. She even packed her luggage and tried to take Peishuan back to Eastern Wu, but she couldn't leave anymore. Some strangers appeared in the traveling palace and stopped her. Father finally came back, but he was carried back. He was shot by Shiling's powerful crossbow and lost a lot of blood. The strategist suggested he abandon Juncheng and return to Eastern Wu. As long as the Green Hills remain, there is no fear of running out of firewood. Father refused, saying that once this place was abandoned, Wei would lose its barrier, and he would rather die in battle. When he said these words, there was a glimmer of light in mother's eyes. Perhaps father now was the young man she once loved the most. But it was only for a moment. Then the light in her eyes disappeared. She personally fed father his medicine. Father said groggily that he had been having many dreams lately and wanted to tell mother about them. After listening, mother advised him to get some good sleep and not think too much. It was that very night that Mushun's army captured Jun City and occupied the traveling palace. I slept too deeply that night and didn't know what. Later, I heard the story of that night from the servants. They said, "Zhang Yuan is a pitiful devil." It turned out that night, Peishuan fell into the water, and mother wouldn't let anyone save him, making father and consort Rong watch helplessly. "Why won't you even spare a child?" father asked mother, his eyes bloodshot. Mother laughed and said, "Didn't you remember your past life?" In the past life, Peishuan deliberately pushed Yanner into the water. At first, I also thought he was just playing around unintentionally. But later, when I was 6 months pregnant, he actually pushed me down the stairs. I prayed 10,000 times before the gods to let Yanner come back as my child again, and then Peishuan killed her once more. In this life, he still harms me. How could I let such a demon go? After saying that, she fed Rongji the hook, and pull poison that would trigger daily, then had people throw her onto the street. She said she once wanted to get along well with Rongji, but Rongji had done nothing but evil. "The most hateful one is you." Mother pointed at father. "The most hateful one is you, Peijie. I came to marry you full of joy, but you betrayed me and hurt me, made me ridiculed and cursed by the world. You made me live as if pierced by 10,000 arrows." They said that after mother finished saying this, she vomited blood and collapsed. Mushun immediately carried her back to the room for treatment. They also said Mushun was mother's pawn from the very beginning. She had planned everything long ago. She also used drugs on Mushun to make him unable to resist her, borrowing his hands to kill father. Even that unclear pregnancy was something she deliberately prepared for Mushun. The more she tried to hide it, the more Mushun suspected the child was his. So when Mushun learned she was truly pregnant, he led his army south. She is really ruthless. How did she manage to plan all this in advance? Could it be she really has past and present lives? Everyone fell silent. After quite a while, someone asked, "What is that drug called that makes men unable to resist her? I have a friend who wants to know." I went to see Mother. She was sleeping deeply, her brows tightly furrowed with tears streaming down. I wonder what kind of nightmare she was having. "Mother, Yonner is here." I held her hand and wiped away her tears. She slowly opened her eyes and smiled at me. "You are awake, little sleepyhead." I smiled happily, too. I woke up early. Mother stroked my face, then slowly fell back asleep. Mushun said Mother needed to rest well, told me to go eat, and that he would take good care of her. Worried he was lying, I turned back, only to see him feeding medicine to Mother. All right, he wasn't lying. I also went to see Father. He was locked up in the dungeon. "How is your mother doing?" he asked me. I replied, "She is with Uncle Mew, doing well." "Then do you like Uncle Mew?" I nodded vigorously. Very much, very much." Father was silent for a long time. Then suddenly said to me, "Yonner, Daddy is sorry. Will you forgive Daddy?" I said word by word, "No, I won't forgive you." He looked at me in shock, and after a long while asked, "Do you also remember?" I remember." That is why there is all this pain and heartache. Finally he asked me, "Can Daddy hug you one more time?" Number. I turned and ran away, regretting things from the past life only in this life. It is too late, in the long, dim corridor. Those images from my memories were suffocating and sad. I ran and ran until I stood in the light. Even though the weather was very cold, it didn't scare me. Not 2 days later came the news of Father's death. After I visited him that day, he refused to take medicine, and eventually died of typhoid fever. When his body was sent back to Eastern Wu, Mother stood under the corridor listening to the wind. The wind blew the bronze bells at the corner of the corridor, and all the past vanished into the wind. Mother's illness never got better. All kinds of medicine were useless. She kept coughing. The court physician said she had exhausted her vitality from overthinking in the past, but a wandering Taoist priest passing by said, "She traded her life for something she shouldn't have traded. She has this life but no next one." Mushun invited the priest back to the manor with fine wine. A few days later the priest left, and Mother gradually got better. Mother ran to ask him what he had done. He said, "In my past life I died young without a good end. In this life I can live long thanks to you. Repaying you is only right." Mother was somewhat moved, saying that what she said back then was all nonsense to deceive him, and that Mushun shouldn't have believed it. Mushun said he already believed. In April, Mushun had to continue the war. Mother and I were sent to Xiling Prefecture to recuperate. No one there knew us. Sometimes I would hear people of Xiling Prefecture talk about Mother, but no one cursed her. They all said she was capable, able to trick the 2 most handsome men in the world into her bed. The honey trap is still a stratagem, if you want to pull it off. First, feel your own face, and see if you are beautiful enough. I dare not imagine how happy I would be if I had her beauty. Everyone burst into laughter, and after chatting they each went about their own way. Life, after all, is just everyone walking their own path. Mother and I lived carefree in Xiling Prefecture for 3 years, until Mushun conquered the realm, and we were brought to the heavenly capital. After arriving at the heavenly capital, I met my little aunt Pei Yue. Her left leg was injured, and she walked with a limp, no longer arrogant and domineering as before. When she saw us, she knelt down and bowed respectfully. Mother told her there was no need for that. She gently shook her head, Eastern Wu is now in ruins, with only my brother struggling to hold on. I beg, madam, for the sake of our past bond, to ask His Majesty to spare him. I once offended madam, and if madam wishes to punish me, I am willing to accept any punishment. After saying that, she kowtowed to mother again. Just then, a man's voice came, scolding her. What are you doing kneeling here? I've been looking for you for ages. Come over here. I looked toward the voice and saw a handsome and noble young man in fine clothes standing at the doorway. Little Aunt seemed very afraid of him and immediately got up to walk toward him. After they left, Mother said Little Aunt had grown up and become sensible, but she feared her marriage would also torment her. Who was that person just now? He is really good looking. I asked Mother, Mother said. He is the troublemaker of the Mew family and also your little uncle-in-law. On a bright spring day, I was climbing a tree to pick peach blossoms. I wanted to pick the prettiest branch to give to Mother. Mu Shun stood under the peach tree directing me, and after I broke off a branch, he asked me with a smile, Yonner, do you want to become my legitimate princess? I said mischievously, Your Majesty should go ask my mother, and please tell her for me that I've gone to play and will be back later. Mu Shun said I had grown up and become sensible. When I returned an hour later, Mu Shun was still in Mother's room. He said, You once promised that if I offered the world as a betrothal gift, you would marry me. Mother said, Your Majesty, this humble woman is not worthy. Mu Shun continued, Our lifespans are shared, and someday we will die together. A Yuan, let's not waste any more time. Mother didn't say anything more. Then I'll take that as a yes. I quietly withdrew, holding the peach blossoms. I sat under the flowering tree, looking up at the sky, remembering when I was 3.5. Mother told me to take the sugar cake far away to eat, and I looked at the sky just like this. It was clearly the same sky, the same spring day. But at this moment, the breeze was gentle, the day was clear, and hearts were content. There was no longer a little Ayan eating while crying. Mother, in this life, Ayan is growing up safe and sound. You must find happiness too.